Info Hub. In our headlines, the Constitutional Reform Bill will be laid in the National Assembly before parliamentary recess. President Granger reflects on his tenure as CARICOM chairman. Minister Dawn Hastings-Williams is part of Guyana's CARICOM delegation. And Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu led a high-level government team to Lethem to assess the flood situation in Region 9. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Thanks for staying with us. We start this evening with major breaking news out of Cabinet. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, who is performing the duties of President, has announced that Cabinet took a decision today that a constitutional reform and consultative bill will be laid in the National Assembly before the parliamentary recess in August. The government said that it remains committed to the process of constitutional reform and has been working steadily to put all the necessary mechanisms and framework in place. The process of drafting and reviewing of the bill has been ongoing over the past months. The coalition government views the laying of the constitutional reform and consultative bill in the National Assembly as a major advancement in the process towards constitutional reform. Now, Paul McAdam, who is at the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Grenada, spoke with President David Granger at the Maurice Bishop International Airport just after he touched down in the Spice Isle this morning, and President Granger reflected on his tenure as CARICOM chairman.
Regional security remains high on the agenda for CARICOM. For this high-level event, which is about to start this evening, President David Granger shares some of his views on what the regional body needs to do to address this concern.
The Caribbean must be concerned. On its borders, of course, is the situation in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and the Caribbean has been working assiduously to ensure that the situation there is resolved without any form of, any worse form of disorder. In that regard, we must look at security at one at the human level, as it concerns our citizens, and the fact that we don't want them to be victims of trafficking. We must look at it at the national level in terms of transnational crime, and we must look at it at the international level in terms of the threat of terror. So we want to, my aim, and the aim of the entire Caribbean, is to ensure that the region remains a zone of peace. So whether the threat of disorder comes from, cocaine trafficking, whether it comes from, the situation in neighboring countries, whether it comes from, crime, we are concerned with all of the dimensions of crime.
We're pushing for sustainable energy. Ghana is pushing the green economy. How do you see the rest of the region coming on board with this? I know Nevis is moving with the hydrothermal energy push. How do you see the rest of the region coming on board with this?
This is something that has gripped the imagination of Caribbean states more or less for the last decade. So there's no new ground here. It's just a matter of the speed with which we can adopt this technology, because many of the other Caribbean states would like to get off of the reliance on fossil fuels and adopt what they have in abundance: wind power, water power, geothermal power, and solar power. So Guyana is part of that movement towards the green economy.
From the Maurice Bishop International Airport in Grenada, Paul McAdam for the Info Hub.
Minister Dawn Hastings-Williams is also part of the Guyana delegation accompanying President Granger in Grenada to the CARICOM meeting, and she spoke to Paul McAdam about her plans.
Also accompanying the presidential party is Minister within the Ministry of Communities, Dawn Hastings. She spoke to Info Hub about what she hopes to accomplish during this event.
Yeah, your first trip to the Spice Island, Grenada, for the CARICOM Heads of Government. You're accompanying the President. How do you see this being for you? As a minister, as an indigenous person, and pushing for water and clean resources and so on?
Okay, I think this is a very good opportunity whereby I can come, sit with the CARICOM sisters to listen to their concern. What I'm most interested in is looking at the human resource development for the 2020 and tourism, and see how best we as a minister within the government, I can be able to gain experience and to learn from the other sister CARICOM countries to see how best, and more so also to do work with the indigenous people, especially the women and the young people whom I have interest with. So I'm interested in the CSME and the ICT development and all this that's going to be discussed at this heads of meeting.
And turning to the situation in Region 9, a high-level government team led by Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu and Minister of Communities Ronald Bulkan visited Lethem to conduct a first-hand assessment of the flooding in Region 9. Zanil Williams flew to Lethem and brings us the details.
Several areas in Region 9 have been flooded as a result of constant heavy rainfall and a rise in the level of the Takatu River. The team was led by Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, Minister of Communities Ronald Bulkan, and members of the Civil Defense Commission. Prime Minister Nagamutu visited several areas including Tabatingo.
Well, here we are at a location that shows the high rising water level that actually would threaten people, residents. Here is a shop. The water from the Takatu flowing over here into the Tapachinga. And already this house was evacuated. They have relocated to relatives.
Minister Bulkan says that the team visited to conduct groundwork so as to make decisions in a timely and meaningful way.
Essentially, the central government is here to have a first-hand assessment of the severity of the flooding and the conditions, and to be able to assess and ascertain what level of support would be needed to enable informed decision-making by the central government to be able to provide timely, meaningful, and relevant support.
Prime Minister Nagamutu, after an interactive session with residents and regional officials, made several recommendations: that school be closed for the remaining of the term, children should be cautioned on waterborne diseases, and the dangers posed by venomous snakes. The Prime Minister also suggested that a subcommittee should be established for data collection of agricultural losses. The team visited Central Lethem, Tabachinga, and Culvert City. Zanil Williams, Info Hub.
Still in Region 9, some 35 persons have been affected by the June-July heavy rainfall. Region 9 has officially launched the Regional Disaster Committee. Here is Zanil Williams once again.
The Regional Disaster Committee officially began work Sunday due to the Tabachinga Creek and the Takatu River banks overflowing and the Rio Branco in Brazil backing up in other tributaries, resulting in flooded communities. The committee began risk assessment missions. Thereafter, 3 shelters were established at the Arapaima Primary School, Culvert City Nursery School, and the Amerindian Hostel in St. Ignatius. Some 25 persons are currently staying at the shelter. Regional workers have made health a major priority due to the many pit toilets and garbage deposits in the water. Janita Jerick Williams, Regional Health Officer, explains that she has been conducting door-to-door health activities and ensuring that water is treated properly.
Presently what I'm doing is house-to-house education with the residents, and I've been personally treating the black tanks using chlorine tablets, giving bleach to those who don't have black tanks and demonstrating how to use them, treating water, having them set up foot baths to wash their feet after they come out of the water.
There are 4 pump stations in Lethem. Regional engineer at the Guyana Water Incorporated, John Yao, says that one of the 4 is currently being monitored.
We have 4 pump stations that is in operation, of which only 1 is being affected by the flood waters. However, we are currently monitoring as the water level rises in terms of breachage to the well itself.
The Civil Defense Commission, CDC, donated sanitary flood relief packages to the region. Deputy Director General of the CDC, Major Kester Romero Craig, commended regional efforts.
We are very impressed with the work of the Regional Democratic Council, and I think what you've seen here is a demonstration of a spin-off of a lot of activities that we have started several years ago.
Zanil Williams for Info Hub.
Minister of Finance Winston Jordan said that the new building society can play a key role in the recovery of the sugar industry. More on this, Delicia Haynes report.
The opening of the branch comes at a time when sugar, one of the main economic activities in the region, is in crisis. Minister Jordan wants NBS to be cognizant of the role they will have to play in the recovery of such an important sector.
Your institution will have a key role to play in the revitalization of this important sector of our economy. And so, although your mission is to provide your customers with the best mortgages and savings product, it is expected that at this troubled time, your support to Berbice will involve a great amount of thinking and innovation to ensure that appropriate financial products and services are delivered to the communities.
The government, cognizant of the invaluable contribution of the sugar industry over the years, has been putting plans in place to address the failing industry. These include restructuring of the estates and factories. Aside from sugar, the minister says that NBS can also play a pivotal role in the expansion of other sectors by investing in developmental projects.
Integral to extending your banking business beyond your corporate headquarters in the city is to promote financial inclusion, which is ordinarily defined to mean the delivery of financial services at affordable costs to vast sections of disadvantaged and low-income groups. Your task, therefore, is to ensure that appropriate and quality financing is accessible and affordable to low-income and other vulnerable groups that are excluded from the formal financial system.
The NBS was first established in 1940. Since its establishment, it has opened 7 branches across Guyana, 4 of which are in Berbice. The others are in Georgetown, Essequibo, and Mackenzie Linden. Delicia Haynes, InfoHub.
14 women from Black Bush Polder have benefited from a new education program that teaches young adults how to read and write. Here is Delon Sanko with the details.
Literacy and Numeracy Work Ready program is organized by the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Youth Empowerment. It has given these women an opportunity to contribute to their own personal growth and the development of their community. The women received their certificates for their successful completion on Saturday at the graduation exercise at the Yakasari Primary School. Kavita Mohabir is a youth activist in the community of Blackbush Polder. She is also the driving force behind the program starting in the village.
I went on vacation and I came back, and then I saw the different life in New York and in Guyana. So then I said I need to do something, and then I was told about the literacy and numeracy program. I went, I had the training. When I came back, I started. At first it was challenging to convince the elderly people that they need schooling, because in our everyday life, education is the best thing. I managed to convince 14 of them, and I had them graduated today.
Kavita noted that it was the first time some of the women attended some form of schooling.
It was emotional for me, and then what you witnessed, some of them were in tears. I felt good that I have moved them, and I know personally I've moved them, convinced them, and I know for the next course I'm getting the 14 a plus.
The Literacy and Numeracy Work Ready program, Reach One, Teach One program, is a trainer of trainers program which seeks to build capacity for a core of young people to deliver literacy and numeracy to their peers in their communities. Delon Sanko for InfoHub.
Thanks for watching. Connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye.